Look, I know that my hair is just a disaster, and I'm getting a cut tomorrow, okay? I'm recording this video on Tuesday. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m., 30 minutes after I drop this video, the hair's getting cut. It will look a lot better. I promise. I don't normally look like a homeless person. Let's talk about Ant-Man. All right, thanks so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, red subscribe button, notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. Okay, so Ant-Man kind of sucks as a hero. That's not a knock on Paul Rudd. He's really good in the role, but Ant-Man is boring. His powers are kind of dumb, and they don't do anything with them in this movie except, they shrink him down, and sometimes he gets really small so he can punch people, and then sometimes he gets really big so he can break things. This movie is fine. It's like middle of the road, bordering on low tier Marvel stuff. But here's the issue we have right now with the MCU. Infinity War and Endgame were so good that there was nowhere else to go. It seemed like they really peaked with those movies, and now they're just kind of fumbling around and throwing poop at the wall and seeing what stays there. You have some absolute garbage like She-Hulk. I liked Multiverse of Madness mostly because for the last 30 minutes, they just let Sam Raimi be Sam Raimi and do bonkers crap, and I like that. And like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was mediocre at best, despite having some great material to work with. And the movies, whatever. I mean, No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home has been by far the best thing they've done since Endgame. And while that movie is great, it's simply not enough to carry the entire MCU. I think we're really starting to see the lack and the missing pieces of Captain America and Iron Man. I think Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans really carried these films for a long time, and no one else has stepped up to the plate to carry them. And that's really unfortunate. So this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they get shrunk down into the quantum realm, and they end up trying to like kind of help this weird rebellion and fight this bad dude named Kang. Kang is clearly set up to be the next big baddie. He's going to be the next Thanos in the MCU, and that's clear from the word go. And this movie is just like a huge CGI mess. There's some practical stuff in the beginning, some city stuff, and then when they're in the quantum realm, it's just all green screen. It's all green screen, and unfortunately, very little heart to go along with it. And I think having Ant-Man in the real world and grounded, in like I guess not the real world, the modern, like on Earth, made those movies kind of fun and enjoyable. And this movie just embraces the Quantumania stuff to such an absurd degree that nothing is explained, nothing makes sense. MODOK is here. It's a fairly significant character from Ant-Man's past, specifically from the first movie. And I just don't really know what Marvel seems to be doing while all of this. Paul Rudd is a fine Scott Lang, but this movie is just, the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, the more I actually dislike it. So the best thing about this movie is Kang. And the second best thing about this movie is Kang's relationship with Janet Van Dyne. Janet is shrunk down. She spends like 30 years in the quantum realm. And ultimately, like, the kind of tragic friendship and relationship she builds with Kang over the course of those years is like the crux of the movie. And actually, that's actually kind of really the only good thing about it, is their relationship. And specifically, Kang is like he's going to be a really good villain. I think Jonathan Majors really hits it out of the park. But as far as Marvel's greater plan, I mean, if this is how they're starting off Phase 5, I'm really not super optimistic about the future of the MCU. We still haven't seen a mutant, with the exception of Professor X in Multiverse of Madness. I might be missing something, but he's the only like notable mutant that we've gotten so far. And they're gonna do Logan is gonna be in Deadpool 3. Great multiverse stuff, more of that. But I just don't know where they're going, and maybe it's just the highs were so high that now everything is going to be middling until they can find their footing. But they really got to figure it out and fast because they're putting out way too much content and not enough of it is high quality. So Multiverse of Madness, this is a Marvel movie where people take their masks off way too much because they can't seem to talk unless they're showing their face to the camera, and it's kind of annoying. This movie also, I mentioned in the beginning that it's just like a CGI orgy of maximum proportions. And when I sat there watching the credits, I sort of kind of pay attention to the credits because I'm fascinated by them and to see who's working on movies. And they had like at least 25 or 30 different effects companies working on this movie. I have never seen that before. There are so many different cooks in the kitchen with this movie's special effects, and it is a jumbled, hot effing mess. So, which kind of describes the modern state of the MCU and this movie in particular. So, I wanted to like this movie. I was prepared to like it. The trailers look cool. Kang is a compelling villain, and that's about it. There's not a whole lot else going on here. There's this weird, like, kind of pro-socialist message that they actually like talk about fairly directly in this movie. That's kind of dumb for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's Quantumania. This movie is what it is. It's there. If you want to watch it, good for you. Thanks so much for watching the video, though. If you liked it, found it helpful, consider subscribing. You can also like and share it. That tells the powers that be that it is worth promoting. And hit me up in the comments. Let me know, am I way wrong about Quantumania? And I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.